shave on top of my head and I don't now.
Peak shaver they got.
Yeah, they are. They're huge. Have you ever seen them out there? They're like, hey, the generators that were surplus, how large are those? Caterpillar 16 cylinders. They're huge.
What's the KW? It's at least a 2
Bigger than big.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. Oh yeah, she's a friend. She's good. She just loves it. She works with Debbie some.
Normally see people who come to every meeting.
She works with Debbie in the cat room.
Oh, nice.
But she's good. She just
I
loves
helped
it.
get some cats spayed and neutered today.
Well, so did my wife.
Oh, yeah?
She went at 6:30 this morning and took some over to get them spayed and neutered. Yes.
Just want to get this on the radar before we start this meeting.
Yes.
2 minutes.
Okay.
On our barbecue.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
I'll just buy 2 tickets.
Oh yeah, sure. Done.
It's,
Done.
okay.
Done.
I'll hold back to it. I got it. So Rotary.
So $70? Okay. Well then I'll take 3.5. So in your world, allocations still move forward?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's what we need to hear.
I mean, you saw what I wrote
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
email,
yeah.
just the confusion aspect.
It
That
is.
statute doesn't impact it. Yeah, I was just curious.
But the
I
way
mean,
they were.
unless y'all are doing one of those four things that I.
No, well, see, we didn't know what those four things were. Because the way it's written, it could be anything.
It's written by lawyers,
Yeah.
and they want to make sure all the other lawyers have jobs.
Yep. All right, welcome everyone. Glad you could be at our August work session. We're going to start off tonight. First of all, Betty will be, Council Member Stocks will be here in about a few minutes, and John is listening up there somewhere, whatever that means. And with that, Ian is going to start with a little presentation as to weather. Is that correct, Ian? Come on up. Is there something happening today?
This evening, the National Weather Service is predicting approximately 4 to 6 inches of rain over the next couple of days, with Thursday being the most active day with the heaviest rainfall as the system continues to move north. As you're aware, a large amount of rain in a short period of time creates localized flooding issues for us here. So city departments have taken steps to prepare for the potential issues caused by the heavy rain totals that are predicted in our area. If the predicted path of this system stays true, most of the weather should be out of our immediate area by midday on Friday. Our EOC is currently in a level 1 activation, which means we're actively monitoring the situation and prepared to staff the EOC if necessary. I'll be prepared to provide you with another update on Thursday during the regular council meeting, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have right now. It's kind of a hurry up and wait situation that we're in right now.
Thank you, Ian. We appreciate that, and we'll be listening for further information. You're not going to cancel our meeting, are you?
I don't think I have that authority, sir.
Okay. Just wait for call. Councilman member McKenzie just was concerned about that. Thank you, Ian. All right, for presentations, the first presentation will be a presentation on Thursday night. Outgoing commission members Carolyn Coggins, William Eisenhower, and Eric Williamson. Tonight, we will be doing the presentation retirement plaque for Joseph Burlington and Captain Clint Little. So if Joey could come forward, I would like to go ahead and present this. I'll be down. How are you? Good. How are you doing? I'll come on down. How you doing?
Do you know Wagon Wheel?
see you. Well, Joey, it's been many years, and we've worked together on several things along the way, for over 25 years now. Right. So I'm going to read a little bit about this technical equipment operator for the wastewater department, and also on the video instruction truck. So you sort of started that when that became going along, when back in the
Johnny,
90s.
yeah, my other partner, Johnny, he was on there. We were on, they called it the bread truck then. But that's when we was at Cedar Street. And we started off in that truck, and then as we moved over to the complex, we got the other one. Van we're in now.
That's been a big part of our community for many years. Oh, yeah. So Joey has spent years performing video inspections of the city's wastewater and solid drain lines, identifying sources of inflow and infiltration, identifying utility defects and damages, and assisting with repairs. His work has been a vital part of the annual Pure in Place slip lining program. We've done hundreds of miles of that. What a big, yeah. And Joey actively participates in civic education programs as a tour guide and presenter, educating our elementary schools and the do's and don'ts of what to be flushed down the sewer drain. I bet you've seen the do's and don'ts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to ask him about that. Do you have any family? Could you stand, please? So I think she's the one that deserves a big round of applause. Thank you, Joey. And we have a plaque right here. So, Joseph Burleson, City of Concord, Water Resources, 25 years of faithful, loyal, and dedicated service. From myself and the mayor and council, congratulate you.
Thanks, sir.
And tell us a little bit about what your next part of your life's going to be. What are you going to do?
Guess I'm gonna do some chores.
You got that, right?
That's what I was told again on the way up there, so I told her she gets two a day. That's 10 a week, that's enough.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
congratulations. Council.
Yeah, an old white side doors. You got to open from the side. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Joe, you're not quite done yet.
Uh-oh.
We've been summoned today right here. Stand up wherever you want to stand. This is the first time I'm having this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Captain Clint Little. Come forward. My goodness. Congratulations. Thanks, sir. This year's of service with us. So, before I make the presentation of the plaque, just want to again read for the record Clint's involvement in our community. A dedicated and lifelong resident of Concord, faithfully served our community since November 8th, 1994. Clint's journey with the City of Concord Fire Department is marked by unwavering commitment, exemplary service, and profound impact of those around him. Clint began his career at CFD nearly 3 decades ago and quickly established himself as a dependable and skilled firefighter. His dedication and leadership were recognized when he was promoted to the rank of captain on September 4th, 2004. Throughout his tenure, Clint has served in stations 1, 3, and 12, working with E1, L1, E3, L3, and E12. You got that? Thanks, sir. Okay. His extensive experience and knowledge has been invaluable to the city's departments and the community as he protected. The Little family legacy with the Concord Fire Department spans generations. Clint's father, Jimmy Little, served as a Concord Fire Department captain, retiring in you are remembered by us and thanked by us. We look forward to seeing you in other things as you go forward. So who do you have here today?
My wife Misty, and then my son Dawson.
Okay. How you doing? Anybody else who you know?
The whole back two rows
Yeah.
over there.
Yes.
I know all them guys,
Well, and they came here to support what you're
and
doing.
I appreciate it.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about what you're gonna do.
Well, I'm gonna probably take 6 months.
I'll just speak into the mic.
Okay, well, I'll probably just take 6 months and, just kind of reflect a little bit before I do anything else. Not rush into anything, but I probably, I'm 51 years old, so I'll probably might, do some other things, but like I said, we're gonna take 6 months and just see what happens,
And, so what are you gonna have them do?
Couple chores a day.
Yeah.
That sounds good, but that's.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
If you would, pass the light to me. Congratulations.
I think I'm all right. Thanks, sir.
Once again. All right. And we'll have a presentation in honoring our former city council member, Sam Leader, his 5th anniversary since his death. And we want to remember him. He was a big asset to our community. We'll do that on Thursday. Thursday, we'll also have the downtown streetscape update, Parks and Rec bond update. And now we'll move to our public hearings. First public hearings, conduct a public hearing to consider adopting a resolution closing portions of Evans Drive, Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I call on Fred to come forward and present this item. This is a continuation of what council approved to move forward with last month. So Fred, if you would.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. Once again, the item before you is a right-of-way closure application for your consideration. The right-of-way in question, help if I would use the clicker, wouldn't it? The right-of-way in question is a portion of the Evans Street Northwest right-of-way, generally located near the intersections of Evans Street and Central Drive. In July, council adopted a resolution of intent to hold a public hearing on the closure, and staff published public notice of this hearing and posted signage at the property in accordance with North Carolina general statutes. If you'll recall, it's a relatively small portion of the existing home, approximately 62.3 square feet that's affected by this 50-foot Evans Street right-of-way. The slide before you now is a depiction of the proposed right-of-way closure, which is shown there in the red cross-hatched area. Regarding the next steps, the council needs to hold a public hearing and/or adopt and/or deny a resolution closing the portion of Evans Street Northwest right-of-way as depicted in the case report. I gladly take any questions that the commission may have, the council may have, I'm sorry.
Any question from council? All right. Thank you, Fred. Number 2, conduct a public hearing, consider adopting an ordinance annexing 5.6 acres, 5.8 acres. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Call on Kevin to present this staff report to council this evening.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. This item is a voluntary annexation petition on Zion Church Road. The owners are the the Moose family, Cabarrus County has an option on the property. That's about 5.8 acres. It's zoned Cabarrus County General Industrial. The proposed zoning, once it comes in the city, if you were to annex it, would be I-2 General Industrial. It's essentially the same zoning district between the city and the county. There's really no difference in terms of permitted uses. The proposed use for the county, they're anticipating the use of this property as a new animal shelter building. It's several years down the road. They're wanting to just get it in the city limits now to be able to move on the property when the time is correct. An animal shelter is a permitted use in the I-2 General Industrial Zoning District. Existing conditions, if you see on the left photograph, you're looking south down Zion Church Road toward Highway 49. The red dot is the indicator of the property. You see the stand of trees in the middle. The bottom is looking north toward Warren C. Coleman Highway 601. In terms of the zoning map, if you see the land directly to the south that's zoned I2CD, that is a concrete ready-mix plant that you annexed last year, and it was zoned by Planning Commission. It's essentially, you wouldn't call it a donut hole, but it's very close to being a donut hole. It's an area of county zoning within city I-2, so it's an extension of the existing zoning district and existing industrial uses. The 2030 land use plan designates the property as industrial employment, and of course, I-2 is a corresponding zoning classification in the I-2 district, so there would be no land use plan amendment necessary. In terms of notification, we have notified all of the neighborhood associations within 1/2 mile. That includes Logan and Southern Chase. We've also notified all of the adjacent properties indicated in green. We've had no phone calls about the parcel. And your next steps would be to consider the annexation request, either an adoption or denial.
Any questions from council?
Matters, but any idea how much sewer this large of an animal shelter would take?
At this point, we don't.
Okay.
We don't know since it's 5 years down the road.
At least 5 years away.
That's my understanding, yes.
Let it go. Good. Any more questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the third item, conduct a public hearing, consider adopting an ordinance adopting boulevards of Concord.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Steve will tee this item up on Thursday night. The consultants, Bolton and Mink, will be here to provide a very extensive presentation to council. So if council has any questions of staff tonight, we can field those. Otherwise, the full presentation will be Thursday evening.
Any questions from council? Okay. Moving on to petitions and requests. Number 1, consider adopting a resolution selling 314 Sycamore Avenue Southwest.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Mary's going to come forward. She's going to handle items 1 and 2 on the council agenda this evening. So Mary, if you would.
Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, my item this evening is the sale of 314 Sycamore Avenue Southwest to the homebuyer Dara Wolfuk. This address may sound familiar to council, as several months ago I had presented another offer to purchase. However, that person was unable to complete that purchase. Staff did receive a second offer to purchase between that one and this one. However, that person opted out of completing the qualifications necessary to purchase under HUD. And so I'm bringing this particular offer. Ms. Wolfik does meet all of the HUD requirements to purchase, and she has offered the full list amount of $232,800 for the purchase of this home. She will also be seeking down payment assistance through the City of Concord. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Any questions? And welcome, Betty. Thank you. Number 2, consider approving ownership of 363 Lincoln Street Southwest.
So, Mayor, member of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, my second item this evening is seeking the approval of the reconstruction of an owner-occupied unit at 363 Lincoln Street Southwest for Ms. Winona Bost. Reconstruction is a term that HUD uses for a rehabilitation project that the repairs necessary for the home exceed the limits of the funding available for that unit. So under the reconstruction, Concord would report it as a rehab project, but we will in fact be building a new home on that property. The property in question has extensive issues with the home, and it is cost prohibitive for us to go in and just do a simple repair. The project will be a partnership with Habitat for Humanity. They will, with their volunteer base, they will be able to allow us to keep the cost of building this home down far less than what it would be if we were building this traditionally, bidding it out for contractors, so on and so forth. With it being funded through CDBG, they do allow the home to go back on the same footprint. However, we can make additions or subtractions to the house based on needs to meet building codes. And in this particular house, her square footage will need to increase from 876 square feet to 960 square feet. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any question, council? Yes, J.C.
Two, is that the total cost of the home, Mary, or is Habitat partnering with some of the cost? Is the 139,200 total?
139,200 is their cost based on what it has cost them for their last 4 builds that they've done.
Great.
And the reason that that cost is so much lower than what we would normally think it should be, this is going to be a 1-story, and they're going to be able to use their weekend warriors to do a lot more of the work than having to sub it out.
And I'm sure this is covered, but where is Miss Boss going to live?
So she has, because it's a HUD program, we're required to offer her a place to go. She has elected not to go under our URA program. She has elected to live with her daughter. And so we have to offer her a place, but she can elect to be wherever she chooses.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Number 3, consider a sale of a structure located at Ramseur Park to WeBuild Incorporated. Now, Valerie, you're handling that?
Yes, sir. So this is a little bit different from the way we normally do transactions with WeBuild. That sounds so very loud right now. The city acquired the property that is now known as Ramseur Park, or future Ramseur Park, I guess. And when we bought that property on Cox Mill Road, there was an A-frame, very small A-frame home located on the property. And I understand from Sheila that Parks and Rec staff did, look at how they could possibly use that A-frame for parks purposes. And just because of the structure of the home and the size of it, it didn't have a practical use for Parks and Rec. And so they began to investigate demolishing, just tearing it down and getting rid of it. And somehow in the course of this, Sheila got in touch with Dr. Graham, and WeBuild said, well, we could move the house. So WeBuild has offered to come and take the whole house and move it to another location. Their intent is, as I understand it, is to renovate the property on a new lot. And then they're intending to sell that property at market rate, but the proceeds from that sale are to be rolled back into the Corbin Street Senior Housing Development Project. So it still qualifies under the structure that we've done these transactions with WeBuild in the past. It's just a little more convoluted and outside of what we normally see.
All right.
Happy to answer any questions.
Question from council.
I have one. Who is responsible for the move? I know it says in here, there was a demo kind of approximate cost. But
Right, and that's a great question. So the savings, part of the consideration of this transaction, the savings of the demolition was estimated to be about $40,000. WeBuild will be moving this property at their sole expense and liability. So they're getting the insurance, they're getting the moving company and dealing with DOT, whatever. I'm sure there are regulations about moving a house down the street. So they'll be doing all of that. All the city staff is going to do is make sure the power is disconnected before they lift it up and take it away. Yes, ma'am.
I'll add for Jennifer, we have a verbal on a lot on Poplar Tent. It's in the county, but the septic tank and a local developer is working with that lot, and we think we think we can get it there, but it is about $50,000 to move it. So pray for us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, really. Thank you. Moving on, number 4, consider approving co-sponsorship application submitted by the Logan Community Association.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ian will come up and present this item to council.
Before you start, can we keep the meeting going?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All is well right now.
Okay. Is it windy yet?
Good evening again. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. The co-sponsorship application before you this evening is for the Logan Community Reunion to be held on September 1st at Barber Scotia College. The applicant is requesting in-kind services from the city to include 1 police officer and additional trash bins from solid waste. The cost to the city for these services would be $225. Council approved co-sponsorship for this same event last year. However, this year it will not be held on city property. Happy to answer any questions.
Any question from council? All right, thank you very much. Number 5, consider adopting a resolution authorizing the sale of 6 Caterpillar 3516 diesel peak shaving generator units.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jaren from Electric is going to come up and present items 5 and 6, which are closely related to council this evening.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. The city had a public bid opening on July 11th, 2024 to sell 6 surplus peak shaving generators. D.H. Griffin's offer is $87,000, which covers both the purchase of the generators and the comprehensive decommissioning of the site. The site work consists of the removal of all 6 generators, cooling equipment, exhaust stacks, fuel tanks, structure venting, and patching all holes necessary. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council? All right, thank you very much. Item number 6, consider adopting a resolution authorizing sale of 5 station power transformers.
The city had a public bid opening on July 11, 2024 for the sale of 5 surplus transformers. A&B System Supplies has made an offer of $129,302. Of these, 2 transformers served a generation plant that I just spoke about, while the other remaining served as station transformers at substations across the city. These transformers were taken out of service for system upgrades. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Item 7, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate a contract with Connor Construction Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So call on George to come forward. He's going to handle items 7, 8, and 9 and present those to council this evening.
Thank
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. On behalf of both the Engineering and Parks and Recreation Departments, this request is to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Connor Construction Corporation in the amount of $493,680 for renovations to the city's McGinnis Aquatic Center pool. The renovations are based on citizen input and will provide a zero-entry expansion of the pool, play features, new plaster and tiled swim lane, and associated equipment. The project was bid under the city's formal bid process. We received no bids at the initial bid opening on June 27th, so the project was re-advertised. We received 4 bids at the second bid opening on July 11th. The lowest responsible bidder was Connor Construction Corporation for the noted amount. Connor is a commercial aquatics design, construction, and renovation company based in Cornelius, and they've been in business for over 26 years. The bid cost was $303,320 under the construction cost estimate for the project. That amount will remain associated with the overall Academy Gibson project family, Academy Fields renovation, the new skate park, pump track, and sculpture garden project, and the Academy Recreation Center renovations. The project will be funded as part of the 2022 park bonds, and as has been noted previously, the start of construction will be coordinated between the contractor and the engineering departments once the pool closes for the season on August 11th, and it will be completed prior to the season's opening next June. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, any questions from council?
I want to make sure I heard correctly. 300,000 under budget?
Under the budget.
Sure you don't want to move a house?
That would be up to council.
Yeah, good to flood the house. Any more questions? All right. Move to number 8, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate and execute a contract not to exceed $649,000 with Musco Sports Lighting.
All right, thank you. This request is to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract not to exceed $649,000 with Musco Sports Lighting Incorporated for the purchase and installation of Musco LED lighting fixtures and poles, the reuse of existing poles, and related equipment for the Caldwell Park renovation project. Mosco Sports Lighting has been the city's longtime sole source sports lighting consultant and provider, which is why this contract is being separated out from the rest of the forthcoming project that will be put out to bid by the engineering department in the coming weeks. Mosco has provided sports lighting and support on all 10 of the city's lighted facilities. This contract will cover installation, support, product and warranty assurance for the renovated sports lighting at Caldwell Park, including lighting for the large and small baseball, softball fields, and the multipurpose field that can be set up for soccer, football, and other field sports and activities. This includes 8 entirely new poles and fixture systems, and the relocation and refitting of 6 existing poles already at the park. The project will be funded as part of the 2022 Parks Bond, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. Any questions from council?
So this is within budget?
Yes, sir.
Well, along those lines, was it what we budgeted or was it lesser?
Since the contract is with our sole source provider, essentially it's part of the overall cost estimate for the park project, and it's
We just
within reason for
Pull
that.
that out. Okay. All right, thank you. Number 9, consider authorizing city administrator to negotiate and execute a contract with Copen Incorporated.
All right. This request is
Compen, sorry.
to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with Compan Incorporated in the amount of $597,614.66 for the design and installation of the inclusive and accessible playground at Caldwell Park as part of the park's renovation project. A significant aspect of the public's input on the Caldwell Park renovation was to include an inclusive, accessible playground suitable for users of many different abilities. The city's designer for the park, Benish, executed a request for proposals for such a playground, and we selected Compan Incorporated. This firm is a market leader in playground projects, particularly noted for their inclusive and accessible designs and equipment. Additional input on the initial design was solicited from an ad hoc committee of all abilities advocates and local families, and significant improvements were made as a result of their involvement. The playground area will be approximately 13,600 square feet in size, with a main 2 to 12-year-old play structure, 2 swing features, a turfed hillside play area with accessible slide, an inclusive carousel, a sensory play area, and other play features. A portion of the cost will come from a North Carolina Land and Water Conservation Fund grant the city received in 2022, with the remainder funded as part of the 2022 General Obligation Parks Bond. Compan Incorporated is part of the Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchasing Agreement that provides significant discounting to the city, which is why this contract is being separated out from the rest of the forthcoming project that will be put out to bid by engineering soon. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about this project.
All right, any question from council? All right, thank you very much.
you.
Number 10, consider adopting ordinance amending Chapter 46 of solid waste of the city's code.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I call on Greg from Solid Waste Department to come up, and he's going to go through these changes for council this evening.
Good afternoon, members of council. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Members of council, Mr. Mayor Douche, Mr. Payne, Ms. Deason, Ms. Kocinski. Solid Waste is here to request approval for some amendments to the current city code ordinance reflecting it as solid waste services. The user fees were already adopted in the fiscal year budget, and the reason for this was to improve our overall efficiencies and overall daily routes, decrease man hours, and also decrease fatigue in staff. Currently, as you may know, the city currently has no limits on the size of limb piles, although limbs must be cut to 12 inches or less in diameter and cut to 6 feet in length. We have no standing limit so far. Fees for limb piles over 6 cubic yards in capacity or three bites of a knuckle boom truck will vary by size of the pile. If you look down below in the pink area, you'll see where the size of the limb pile, where we get our numbers. The first 6 cubic yards between 1 to 3 bites, there will be no additional charges. Service on a regular weekly collection. Anything in excess of those 6 cubic yards, beginning with 7 to 10 or 4 to 5 bites of the limbs, is $100 per collection. And of course, requires payment before scheduling collection. Anything in excess of those 10 cubic yards goes to 11 to 20, which is 6 to 10 bites of limbs at $150 per collection. And of course, it will require payment before scheduling collection as well. Anything in excess of 20 cubic yards will total $200 per truckload, 20 cubic yard capacity, which is the size of our trucks. It requires payment before scheduling collection. On the next slide, you will see that, what what 3 bites might look like. But if you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Yeah, I do have one question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
We've gone through this obviously before. We looked at it way back. Is there any contingencies for storm damage?
Absolutely.
Okay. What is that?
Again, storm damages will be treated as disasters. We
Okay.
will handle them as we come across them, typically how we do now. There will be no fees imposed when storm damage is the cause of it.
That's a good question. Any more? All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 11, consider authorizing, negotiating, and executing an addendum to the edifice general contractors.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jackie's going to come forth and covers items 11 and 12 this evening for council.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. Item number 11, I bring to you on behalf of Fleet Services. We need to execute an addendum with Edifice General Contractors for the construction of the fleet facility. So Edifice is currently under pre-construction services. We'd like to have an addendum to their contract for construction. They have given us a guaranteed maximum price, a GMP, of $24,103,451. We had really good MBE participation, small business, over 14%, which is $3.28 million. 14 subcontractors are participating in this project. So we've had a really lengthy design process. We bid the project, and we've had a lot of interest in the project, so we got a really good price. I'm happy to take any questions on that.
Yes, we have one right here.
Compared to our CIP budget?
Pardon me?
How does it compare to the budget?
Yes, it's under budget. We will have some additional asks for the FFE later, the fixtures and equipment. So we have roughly $2 million in the budget remaining.
Build out is over what period of time? What do we participate, the CIP was it saying on there, so
The contract is going to be 18 months.
18 months starting,
Well, we thought it was going to be a little later. We're wanting to start in August. So our schedule initially, we were thinking it was going to kick off in November, but we're eager to start now. The contractor is ready.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Okay. And number 12, consider adopting a resolution granting temporary construction easement to Dominion Energy.
Okay. Dominion Energy has asked for a temporary construction easement. The parcel is a City of Concord parcel at the intersection of Branchview Drive and Crestside Drive Southeast. So staff has reviewed the request. The city arborist has weighed in, and as well risk management. So if council approves, the following conditions would apply. So we'd ask them to restore the area to the desired grades, have insurance requirements, and provide market price compensation for the loss of the trees, estimated to be $7,500.
Any questions? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Anyone want to bring anything up off the consent agenda? All right, consent agenda will stand. That is all we have for tonight. On Thursday night's meeting, we will have a closed session, so we'll go into that. Tonight, we're heading over to various places around town for a National Night Out. So hope you can join. There's Lloyd, tell us the latest with the weather, what we're doing.
I think the first event that everyone will go to will be the Logan/City Housing event that has been moved from Caldwell Park over to Logan Multipurpose Center. Then I think there's 6 additional events across the city. We started out with, I think, 16 events, and because of the weather, many of them have canceled or rescheduled.
All right. With that said, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mayor.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you. I'll see everybody shortly at, starting at Logan. That was good.